All right. Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on Outhouse's webinar. We've got a good one for you today. I get to be I'm not actually bringing any content. I get to be the pretty face today on this webinar with these two gentlemen, and I'll introduce them right now. We have Bill Gelbaugh, a founding partner here at Outhouse, who is with us. We also have Al Trellis. He is a principal with the Home Builders Network, as well as a founder in a consultancy company called Values That Matter. Amongst other things, he's a multiple published author. He is a habitual speaker at IBS for the NAHB, as well as other speaking engagements around the country. Bill, can we just get a quick hello from you?
Hello.
That was very brief.
Boy, you said quick.
I did say quick. Al, how about yourself, sir?
Hey, I'm ready to rumble. Let's go.
All right. Well, there's no secret in what we're talking about today. We're talking about AI. And rather than giving a detailed description, because, hey, I'm a mouth-breathing knuckle dragger myself, we're going to go into just starting the program with a fun example that Al has. Al, let's go ahead and check out that fun little example you have. What AI can and cannot do.
Right. So if you put that slide up, there you go. AI can do this. Give me 4 Great Bass Lakes. And by the way, I fished 3 of those 4. But it can't do this. It can't go out and catch the fish. And I think it's always important to remember that. Now, someday we might have a robot that can do that. But for the moment, what it's going to do is talk to you, give you ideas, give you feedback, help you stimulate your thought. But in the end, it can't really do a lot. It can only help you do a lot. That's really the key.
So, Bill, let me get a question out to you first. There's a lot of recent buzz about large language models. Can you talk to us a little bit about them and why they are important to the framework of AI?
Yeah, large language models are really the beginning. We're at the beginning stage of AI, and it really encompasses a couple different things. And I like to break it down. You have all the servers in the network, and then you have the data, which has been being put together for years and years so that AI has the content that it needs to be able to answer the questions. But the real breakthrough came, this past couple of years, especially with OpenAI, where they have the natural language processing and the pre-processing of all of that data and information so that you can have natural language and interaction, with humans. And so what it does is it understands context, it understands emotion, it understands grammar. And at that point, both verbally and through, typing and text, you can communicate back and forth with seems like has a very human interaction. It has a way to go, and I'm hoping at the end of the conversation, I can tell you a little bit more about the direction that it's gone. But that's really where we're at right now.
All right. So, Al, there are plenty of GPTSs out there. What are some more interesting ones that you want to rattle off for us?
Well, so DAL-E used to be separate, but now if you buy a paid subscription to ChatGPT, which everybody should do, it's $20 a month. The DAL-E image generator is part of that, and I'll show you some images that it made. So what happens is there are now like the App Store, you can get different baby GPTs that are sort of very specific uses, tools built around the big GPT, around ChatGPT. And these are some of the ones that are available. You can find them, and I can show you later how to search and find them, but you can't get them easily without a paid subscription. When you have a free subscription, which is ChatGPT 3.5, you're going to just get the regular things. And the real key to understanding large language models is the power of iteration, because you can ask it a question, get an answer, and then either ask it for more information or a clarification of that information over and over and over again, and keep zeroing in on what you want. And there's no price, there's no charge. If you draft something, send it to an editor, they send it back, Then you tell them, I want you to change this. You got to send it back. The machine will just keep doing that as many times as you want for no charge. That's the real iteration is the real power of AI, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So there's practical applications for LLMs. Many of us can use in our day-to-day business. Can you share a few?
For me personally,
Yeah, Al.
yeah. So one of the things I use it for a lot is to stimulate my thinking on a particular subject. So I also use it, like, I don't read business books anymore. My wife says I should never tell people that. It makes me sound ignorant, but I don't read business books because I just go to chat and tell it, give me a 300, 500, 1,000 word summary, give me the 20 key teaching points, and give me 10 ways I could use those in my home building business of Sioux Falls, North Dakota, where I build approximately 12 houses a year at an average price of $350,000. And you notice that my prompt didn't say, tell me about the book. It said, the more you can be specific in the prompt, the more powerful the answer is that you'll get.
So wait a minute, you're going to stand there and tell me that I can put Cliff Notes out of business?
Cliff Notes is out of business. Whether they know it or not, I don't have any idea.
All right, so here we go. So you can also use it for like job postings as well?
This is a company that I work with called Contractor Staffing Source. I refer them to my clients. They have a whole bunch of AI methodologies put together to write the job description, post the job description in 37 different places, get the responses, screen the responses, filter them, rate them, and then give them to my clients with questions to ask at the interview.
What
And
about
they can do it for a discounted price compared to a regular placement service because there's very little human involvement. So it's an example of how AI makes things more efficient, which eventually will lower the price of a lot of different things.
So home builders can use it to help them with their logo design. They can use it for languages. They can use it for job postings. What else do they have available at their fingertips?
Well, we can use it to help organize your company. You can organize your files with it. You can use it for marketing. I mean, there's 4 ways to make more money in a home building business. In fact, there's really only 4 ways to make more money in any business. And you guys should, since you guys have a business, you should understand this. What are the 4 ways? You raise the price, you lower the cost, that's the direct cost. You reduce your overhead, or you sell more. And by the way, that's the order in which I believe you should think of them. Most people, most builders, which of those do they think of first, Kevin?
They're always talking about if they can raise their prices because
No, that's
not
not what
raise their prices.
they're always scared to death to raise their prices. They're always talking about what?
Al, everybody wants to raise. Why not raise?
Everybody wants to, but everybody's afraid to. Everybody talks about which one first.
They always want to lower their costs.
No, they don't. That's not what they talk
Al.
about. How are you going to grow your business? I'm going to sell more stuff. Right? Think about it. If you're Heinz ketchup, I'm going to sell relish too. If you're selling SUVs, I'm going to build an electric car. They all want to like increase their lines. But AI can help you with all of these. And we have a couple of examples. We'll just pick a couple of them.
So
let's look at raise the
side
price.
skirt too much, but just so you listeners know, one of my thorough joys in life is to derail either Bill or Al in any of our meetings. So just kind of come along for the ride on that one.
But here's the fallacy that you believe we're actually derailed. We're just playing along so you have a job. So when all of these things AI can help you with in raising the price. We can use optimized pricing or dynamic pricing. Now, dynamic pricing has gotten a bad name in a lot of places because people don't like it. But the reality is they see it every day in their life. I'm going to work in Alabama next month with one of my clients, and the Auburn football game is in town, and the same hotel that I usually pay $165 for is $355. And hey, Al, if you don't like it, don't come to Auburn that week. That's an example of dynamic pricing. Well, we can't do it that much, but let me give you an example. I have a new subdivision with 40 lots. Every lot has a unique price. It's got a lot premium. Some are $0, some are $15,000. I start to sell them. the machine tracks what's selling and comes back and recommends to me, you should raise the price of these kind of lots because that's obviously what most people want. That's a form of dynamic pricing. We change the price based on feedback. Variable margin pricing. Every good builder understands this. A good example would be options and upgrades. Any builder who's listening, can you charge the same margin on a washing machine that you can charge on a 4-foot extension out the back of the house? Of course not, because the whole world knows what a washing machine costs. It's all over the place. You go online, but nobody can tell you how much a 4-foot extension out the back of your house costs except you. So on the washing machine, we typically make 15%, and on the 4-foot extension, we make 50%. That's variable margin pricing. And many builders make a huge mistake. They price all their plans with the same margin. Every plan should have its own unique margin, depending on the perceived value of that house versus what it costs to build it. Price elasticity, bundling, competitive studies. AI can help you do all of these things. And in fact, one of my builders, we use it heavily for competitive analysis. And we have an AI company that I've invested in that I'm involved in. We do competitive analysis all the time. And we use the multiple list. We get the listings. We compare the sales. We compare old houses to new houses. There's no problem with getting data. The question is, how do you analyze it? So those are just some examples of how you can get more money from the same number of houses with the assistance of AI. And you can do some of those things without AI, but AI makes it easier. These are some ways you can sell more with AI. You get better customer analytics. By the way, does anybody know what lead scoring is? So lead scoring is where the AI helps you score the quality of the lead based on certain things that we put into the system. It's fantastic for training. One of the things I love about AI, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude, which are the two I use the most, is it's fabulous to write training materials and even the tests that go with those materials. It can teach you how to overcome objections. We can ask it, like, here's an objection. Give me some ideas about how to overcome it. Now write me some scripts to overcome it. Now take the best part of script number 1 and this part of script number 4, put it together in a new script. It's fabulous to help you with frequently asked questions and the answers to those questions. This is the one that frustrates a lot of people. Automated customer engagement at its most primitive form is the idiot thing you have to deal with when you call the cable company and you got to go through 400 questions before they let you talk to somebody. But when it's done right, it can actually be a positive experience. Most people, when they have automated customer engagement, it's a negative experience. So,
well, Al, what are some real life examples of using AI to benefit the client?
Some real life examples to benefit the client. Well, first of all, anything that the client being the home buyer, or because a lot of these examples are for my builders, but
correct.
To benefit the client, the number one benefit to clients everywhere of AI is it eventually lowers costs. It makes productivity more efficient, lowers your cost, some of which, you notice I didn't say all of which, some of which we can pass on to that customer in the form of lower prices. Some of which we keep for ourselves because we're now a more efficient provider and we're entitled to make more money. The market rewards efficient producers. It rewards them two ways. They make more money and they usually have a more competitive price. Does that make any sense?
It does.
Okay.
Now, from a personal example, now, Bill, I know that you're a ridiculous reader. Like you could read me under the table with just a month's worth of reading that you do. How do you use AI on a personal level to find the next read, if you will?
Well, the thing that's nice about what Al brought it up a little bit earlier with perplexity. I mean, one of the things that everybody should check out is the combination of using perplexity and using ChatGPT, Claude, the other direct GPTs. Perplexity is great for doing the research, and then the Chat GPT and Claude is great for doing the book summaries and everything that you want. So what I do, I mean, I'll give you a couple of examples. I usually follow themes. Like right now I'm studying Stoicism because I like to go through the different philosophies. So I'll do as you were talking about, I'll go out and I'll use Perplexity to do the research based on what I'm interested in. So that's the nice thing. You can go out and do a fairly zeroed in or detailed search around the fact that this is what I'm interested in. And then it will go out and it will suggest the books. It will suggest YouTube videos that you could watch. It pulls all different kinds of citations from different areas and then gives you a complete summary of them so that you can go out and check them individually. But I've used it for, doing research on Stoicism, research on OKRs. If your business is, looking to go out and develop OKRs. And then we use it quite a bit here for marketing and, different marketing research that we want to do. So it's really flexible using it. I use it just as much for personal interest stuff as I do for, aiding the business in its research and development.
All right. Before we change gears, Al, can I find in this book called Wisdom by a famous guy? Oh, Al Trellis. Hey, can I find some stoicism in this guy?
There's a little stoicism in there. You know what the Spartans said? Come home with your shield or on it.
That's it.
That's as stoic as it's going to get, baby.
All right. So, Al, let me come back to you. So there's a large number of keys to successful or to being successful using large language models. Can you name a few of those, or can you talk us through a couple of those?
So this is especially true if you have the paid version. You can do it without the paid version, but whenever you put in a prompt, you always want to tell it who you are and tell it who you want it to be, and then tell it what you want. So let me give you an example. A good prompt would say something like this. Well, in fact, at the end, I'll show you a great prompt that we use for editing, which was written by the Claude people. And it's really, really strong. So tell it what you want clearly and descriptively. It loves adjectives. Like, I want, you are an expert in punctuation, grammar, vocabulary. You tell it that, so it knows you're interested in those things. Then you tell it, I am a builder who builds high-priced houses in the Southwest. So now it knows what your focus is about. In the paid version, you can actually put that in as a default, so it always knows when it's talking to you, I know that you're a consultant, you got this many clients across North America, you've got 52 years of experience, it knows all these things about me. So it often will say, this will be of particular interest to you, Al, because of your knowledge of so-and-so. Don't expect a perfect answer the first time. The better the prompt, the closer to a perfect answer you'll get. And then iterate. Keep zeroing in to make your answer better and better and bigger. And then learn to dig deeper and deeper. Like a lot of times, it'll give me, like when I did HR system for home builders, it gave me the 10 areas it was going to talk about: compensation, retention, etc. I said, I'm very interested in training. Tell me about this one. Give me 10 ways I could train my people better. And then I looked at, and then like number 5, about safety. Now give me 5 examples of what I should teach them. You can keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And finally, give it examples and ask for examples. I love to do that with it. Like, tell me this thing, and then give me 3 examples of how I could use that in my business. If I don't like the 3 examples, guess what I asked for, Kevin?
Another example?
No, I asked for 3 more. Because it doesn't care. It doesn't care if you ask for 1 or 5 or 10. It doesn't care.
Now, being that I get to work in the same office as Bill every once in a while, I get to see the joy in his face like a kid in a candy store when he comes out to show us this newfangled thing that he's learned about ChatGPT or some sort of AI. But Bill, could you give us an example of, or maybe some pointers of stuff that you've learned?
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the important things for this group and what we're talking about, and Al really touched on it, is for me, I found that there's 3 layers to really getting what you want out of ChatGPT or any of these, is going in, as Al was suggesting, and taking the time at the highest level to get the paid version. And at that point, you can go in and under your profile, you can put in a custom profile, and you can tell ChatGPT basically exactly who you are, what persona you are, how you like to be talked to, at what level, and then give it all of the detailed instructions of how you want it to respond. Like in my case, I want it to respond to somebody who's well-read, reasonably intelligent, and likes to have conversations over a beer. So, that's my general prompt for ChatGPT. Then I tell it, the specifics that I want good grammar, and I want it humanized, and a couple other suggestions that we could talk about. But at that highest level, getting ChatGPT or Claude or any of these, that custom profile in there, you will start getting better responses right away. It will start talking to you the way that you want it to respond, the way that you want it to talk to you. And then I believe Al's actually working on one of his own, but the second level then is to go in and create customized GPTs that will allow you to do specific tasks or responsibilities. And like one of the examples that we used here at the company is I went and did a writing profile of Kevin's writing. And then I went in and did a writing profile of Jim's writing. And then I went in and did a profile of my writing. And, basically that way, when we want to send out emails or sales or marketing, we can choose any one of those writing styles. And so I created a custom GPT for each of those writing styles. So then when we go and use Perplexity to do the research on a particular market or even an individual builder, we can match that with a template done in Kevin's writing style or Jim's writing style. And at that point, those day-to-day tasks become really efficient, and they really have an efficacy to them that you never had before. Because you can go, Kevin's writing style's too hard on the nose. We got to go softer. We're going to use Jim's writing style. And you can use the same research and combine it into a template and go out.
You can send the same basic letter, but it sounds like it came from 2 different people.
It does. And that's one of the most important things, that we learned is it can take on any persona that you want.
Just for fun, if you want to actually entertain yourself, have Claude give you a synopsis or a summary of Genesis from the Bible from the perspective of a circa 70s pimp speaking American jive. It will blow your mind what it comes back with. It's ridiculous.
I'm not going to do that particular one. Particularly, I'd rather talk about stoicism. But
yep. All right, so Al, let's go with this. I know that you've talked about and mentioned the book, the score that takes care of itself.
Got to hear the story that goes with it.
Yeah, so go with that story that goes with that and how you needed it or how you found it, etc.
I'm helping a builder in Michigan work on a project that belongs to an insurance company. The land does, and so I'm talking to the president of the insurance company, and we're talking about business and what business books do you like to read, and he says this book. The score takes care of itself. What do you think? I said, I never read it. I said, but I'll send you an email later today about it. So then after we're done with the conversation, I go to I go to Claude and I say, give me a 500 or chat, give me a 500-word summary and 20 key points. It does perfectly. I say, give me 6 ways I can improve myself on point number 10. It blows it and gives me the answer for number 20. And I go, no, you're wrong. I want number 10, commitment to excellence. I tell it the name of it. And now it gives me 6 ways I can improve myself there. And then of the 6 ways, I say, I'm really interested in number 3, prioritize continuous learning. Give me 4 things I can do to excel at that. And it says, set learning goals, leverage diverse learning resources, implement learning schedule, apply what you learn. And it gives me like 60 words for each of these, okay? Then I say, on this learning schedule, make me a learning schedule. And it does give me a really detailed learning schedule. But this is the part that kind of blew my mind. Unsolicited, it said the following tips for success of how to adhere to the learning schedule. I'm thinking, this is like fantastic. So I send this to the guy and I go, when you read the book, did he give you any tips to success on that learning schedule part about how to improve yourself? Because I didn't read the book. I just got the 15-minute summary, but I got this out of it. And he's like, that's fantastic. I'm not going to read any more business books. So I'm slowly undermining the publishing industry, I think.
So you're you're shrinking the research time too.
Well, somebody's got to write the book for chat to summarize it for you.
Yeah.
But, you know, like that little book you held up, the wisdom book, it's a short book. It's only 56 pages. But I asked it, like in the book, I have quotes by famous people and what I think of them. And I tested chat, find me some quotes like the ones I use on the same subject. And then I gave it my writing styles and I told it, write about him the way I would write about him. And I showed him to my wife, and this is a little scary. Of the 6 I showed her, 5 of them, she couldn't tell that it wasn't me.
Yeah.
And if I work at it harder, she won't be able to tell for any of them.
Well, and you know, to give an example from my own, Al, you know, I've used it for reading Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and you know, you want a modern translation of those. And so what I did is I created a persona, and I created a persona for Marcus Aurelius. I took a bunch of his writings and, you know, used it to create a GPT that would respond as if it was Marcus Aurelius. Yep. Then I gave translations of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and had it provide it in a modern language and vernacular as if Marcus Aurelius was living today and using our language. And I got some of the best translations of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations that just absolutely blew me away, especially passages that were written by him, translated from the Greek, you know, 100 years ago by Oldfellow or something like that. And you're going, boy, I'm really having a hard time understanding this. When I would go through, and I did about probably 30 of my favorite, the translations were incredible because I was having them tailored specifically for the way that I wanted them done. And then it would come back like you did here, and add additional suggestions for how to ask for better translations. It's just,
I'm going to show you
amazing.
guys at the end. When we move through at the end, I'm going to show everybody this chat GPT that we're building, one of the early versions, because I don't want to show you guys the latest version, but one of the early versions. And I trained it. It's trained by my writings. So a lot of the answers it gives are very similar to the answers I would give if you asked me the same question.
So, Bill, that brings us to a pretty important part. You have to put in the right prompts. Like what you would put in would be different than what I would put in. So can you give some examples of good and bad prompts?
Well, you know, that's really where I've spent the most time with is the prompt engineering area. And just some brief suggestions for, I mean, I can tell by some of the comments in the chat that are coming up that people are, have actually worked with this and are offering suggestions to each other. But as Al was providing, earlier, the most important thing is to provide what persona or what role you want ChatGPT to take, or Claude, or any of the others, what role or persona that you want it to take. And then tell it what the context is and who the audience is, and provide an example of the writing if you possibly can, and then tell it the format and the tone that you want. There are GPTs out there that if you have a particular style or whatever, as I'm explaining this, that you like, it will go and do an analysis and give you all of this back for yourself. So as Al touched on earlier, if you provide the persona, the context, an example, tell it what format, exactly how you want it to respond, and I keep a prompt library that keeps all of that ready for me just to fill in. So the first thing is to create yourself a template for good prompts, so that you go in and fill in the right information consistently, and then using that prompt template every time, you can keep tweaking it, till the template gets better. But then your prompts right from the get-go will be more consistent. But what I do, a trick that I learned, is to take and fill all that information in, and then ask ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity to write you the perfect prompt using this information. Never struggle to, sit there and word edit your own prompt. Just get all the details down in a template, provide that, and then ask for the AI to actually write its own prompt. And you will get a really, really great response from that. And then, as Al was explaining earlier, the key from the human side, then, once you've done that, to write a good prompt. So you just don't come in and ask it like you have up here in the bad prompt, give me a summary. You got to tell it exactly, what persona and how you want it to respond, and write that summary out, and how many words, and what the tone is, and all of that stuff. But if you do what I was saying and have it write the prompt, you will start getting some of the best responses that you've ever seen. I mean, it will go up 1,000% over just what you started playing around with and writing the right question. But at the same time, you have to go through, as Al was explaining earlier, a lot of iterations. And if you don't get the exact answer that you want from that prompt, then you keep tweaking it and keep asking it differently and keep tweaking it and saying, no, that's too flowery of language. I want more concise language, or I want you to expand and provide a more in-depth and philosophical analysis, and keep notes while you're doing that. And then that way you can go back and keep refining your template for your prompts, so that eventually, they're pretty dead on from the very get-go.
So
I'll show you a couple of big time prompts when we get to the end of the program.
So when it comes to the subject, and we're talking about generative AI, where are people going to go to learn about this, Al? Where can people head to?
Well, I took the course on the right from IBM. I actually didn't take it. I'm 53% of the way through it. I'm too busy to go back and finish it, because I feel like my prompting skills have gotten to the level where I'm not even sure I need to finish the class. But these are two examples, one from Vanderbilt and one from IBM. They're both free through Coursera, which is a great...
Yeah, Coursera is really good.
I've taken 4 courses, 4 significant courses from Coursera, one on negotiation, one on model thinking, one on gamification, and one on marketing. And I took them from Yale, University of Pennsylvania Business School, University of Michigan. I mean, there's some great stuff available for free. It's crazy, but you got to be willing to put the time in. Those classes take like 20, 30 hours of your time to really do them well. So these are some great sources right here. I also had some articles in the last, if you want the quick version, in that last slide, there were 2 articles from Fortune magazine that are really good.
And Bill, what about you? Do you have any websites or books that you'd recommend?
I don't have any, specific. I've done what Al's done here. If you just want to get that foundation, go to Coursera, find something like the IBM, go through, and they'll lay out basics, the fundamentals. But really, I've found the most, as I was explaining earlier, with how to do this well, where you're going to go in and put that custom profile in, and then do the standard day-to-day stuff with the GPTs, and then get really good at prompt engineering. YouTube. I mean, you go to YouTube once you have that foundation, and there are people that are really, really good that will walk you through whatever you specifically want to, to be learning about, customizing it at the highest level or engineering a prompt.
Aaron asked if the slides will be available after the show, and that would be yes. We'll be sending that out with the video to all attendees and anybody that was registered, just so you know. Hey, Bill, let's come back to you. Home builders are always looking for AI tools that they can use. Can you give us some examples of some builder-specific home building tools? But we even have a slide.
Oh, yeah. Well, we have, some partners that we've run into over the years with Atlas RTX and their chat bot, and OpenAI, and they're doing the prediction and analysis,
Open House AI, yeah.
sales projecting and all of that. So Open House is a great one to check out. And then Automation Agency is the one that I know the least about. Maybe you could tell them a little bit more about Automation Agency.
Yeah. Automation Agency is a company that has linked AI to CRM integration, to making the ability to reach out to your clients, make that process more efficient. That's really their forte. And I've heard nothing but glowing reports from the companies that use them, at least the ones that I've chatted with that have spoken with them directly. But yeah, that's Automation Agency. So again, for CRM integration, making that more efficient, a lot more efficient.
Yeah. Open House and Atlas are both great.
Oh yeah.
I've really loved our interaction with them.
All right, so Al, can we do me a favor and let's review just the top AI applications for home builders?
So it's fabulous for writing copy. In fact, I think if you're a copywriter, you're out of business. You got to become an editor. Create training materials. That's really good for helping file documents. Good, quick, deep research on almost anything. Increasing your operational efficiency on any task that's redundant, repetitious. Obtain and analyze market data easily and inexpensively. We're partners in a company called Real Torch, where we get unbelievable data very inexpensively. They're helping me develop the app that you mentioned earlier, which I'm going to show you, called the Home Builder Advisor. We use it to stimulate creative thought whenever I'm sort of stuck creatively. I'll just ask it some generic questions about what I'm thinking about to help stimulate my thinking. It's really good in any kind of assisting a personalized customer experience. You can do a lot to automate the HR function, and it really helps you optimize your pricing through better data and better analysis of that data.
All right, so Al, let's go ahead and wrap up a little bit. Can you give me a summary of where you are and where we are as an industry with the AI transformation journey?
So, I mean, number one, somebody argued with me the other day. He said, Al, we're the second batter up in the first inning. But whichever way you want to look at it, we're early in the game. And just the changes since I started doing this about a year ago till today are unbelievable. I've got 550 hours. I log my time with AIs, talking to AIs. My wife is like really annoyed with me. So, but it's amazing the difference between when I started and today. And remember, I really believe this. AI, this is not an incremental thing. This is a transformational thing. The world is really going to change. A lot of the people common phrase is, this is as big as the internet. I think that's a mistake. I think it's bigger than the internet. And one of the reasons it's bigger than the internet is because you have the internet. When you created the internet, to get everybody to see it, use it, that took a long time. Now you create something on ChatGPT, everybody's got it the next day. So the cycle time is much quicker. And since I've started, it went from Chat 3.5 to 4 to 4 Omnivore. So there's 2 more versions in a year. The small to mid-sized builders under a lot of pressure from bigger builders. If you want to be irrelevant, just keep doing what you're doing, and they'll take care of it for you. They'll make you irrelevant really fast. So this is actually a tool that helps the little guy as much as it helps the big guy. But if you don't use it, then, you know, what'd you do? There's a famous quote by Mark Twain. There is no difference between a man who can't read and a man who chooses not to read. Right? The tool's here. Pay $20 a month and learn it. At a minimum, figure out the large language models and just become familiar with them. See what it can do for you. Try different things and aggressively explore current AI tools and constantly look for new ones. Like, I find new ones all the time. That's how I found Perplexity. Someone mentioned it to me. I went there, all of a sudden I love it. So that's my vision of the future.
Al, I agree with you. I would actually argue that a smaller builder can get more benefit than large nationals because they have more flexibility. They don't have to follow all the corporate rules and regulations that they have.
You talk about flexibility. There's the most famous quote is knowledge is power, right? I think that's an incomplete quote. I tell everybody who listen, that's not a good quote. This is the way the quote should be written. Knowledge is power in the hands of those who know how to and are willing to use it. Otherwise, it's just information.
I agree. Bill, any final thoughts, sir, before we get to the example?
And questions?
Yeah, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to follow up in the same vein that Al was talking about, and I'm going to read this because it just came out, so I haven't memorized it yet. But if you go over and you use Perplexity, one of the things that they do is they publish news on a couple times a week about some of the biggest events. And so just recently they published OpenAI's 5-step plan for achieving AGI, which is their term, artificial general intelligence. So I want to read this for everybody because it'll give you a roadmap to what Al was explaining. It said the first level of OpenAI's AGI roadmap focuses on conversational AI, which represents the current state of the company's technology. Where it's moving right now is the second level of OpenAI's AGI roadmap, and it introduces reasoners, AI systems capable of solving complex problems with the proficiency of human experts. And the third level in the roadmap is what they're calling agents. And they emerge as AI systems capable of operating autonomously for extended periods of time. These advanced models can spend several days acting on a user's behalf, taking on complex tasks, making decisions, and adapting to changing circumstances without constant human oversight. And the fourth level of OpenAI's AGI roadmap introduces innovators, AI systems capable of developing groundbreaking ideas and solutions across various fields. And the fifth one is the one that blew me away. The pinnacle of the roadmap, level 5, envisions AI organizations that can function as entire business entities, processing strategic thinking, operational efficiency, and adaptability to manage complex systems and achieve organizational goals. So, as Al was saying, as fast as it's gone from 3.0 to 3.5 to 4.0, 4.0 and 4.0 omnivore, and they're already starting to slip into stage 2. The foundation is set, like we were talking about in the beginning of the presentation, for them to get these large language models built, the infrastructure in, systems, servers, data, get that pre-processing done so that it can talk natural language. That took years and years and years, but now that that foundation's set, I really think that this is going to go fast.
We're not even talking prop plane versus jet plane. We're talking about, all the way into interstellar.
Yeah, we're gonna go from driving cars to interstellar, in the next few years. But it's really, if you're in leadership or management, this is going to be so disruptive. It's so exciting for the people that can take it under their arms and learn it well and build their organization utilizing it. But if you can't, you're going to be left in the dirt, and it's going to move fast.
All right. So Al, did you have that example you can show?
Yeah. So I'm going to do two things. First, let me share the screen here. This is a prompt, one of my favorite prompts. Just let me bold this so everybody can read it easily. This is a prompt. I want ChatB to be an editor. This is actually perfect for Claude. It was written for Claude. You are an AI copywriter with a keen eye for detail and a deep understanding of language, style, and grammar. Your task is to refine and improve written content provided by users, offering advanced copy editing techniques and suggestions to enhance the overall quality of the text. When a user submits a piece of writing, you will follow these steps. Read through. You see how detailed this is? And when you're done at the end, you'll give me a fully edited version that takes into account all of your suggestions. Your suggestions should be constructive, insightful, and designed to help the user elevate the quality of their writing. You like this one, Bill? This is a nice one, isn't it?
I absolutely, yes. That's exactly what we've been talking about. It's a great example to end the discussion, because that's been tweaked and tweaked and tweaked until you get as close to the result. But you have to tell every specific thing that you want, and you did a great job on that prompt.
Well, I stole it. I didn't write it. So here's one that I want you to see. This is my ChatGPT account, and you can tell it's a paid account because I have my name up here. And if I click on my name and I go to is it settings or customize?
Customize, yeah.
Right here. I'm a home building consultant. It tells him who I am. And I'm going to go back actually after this conversation tonight. I'm going to add another 100 words in here. I'm going to tell it much more. So, okay. So these are other baby GPTs. This is some of the ones I use. You can explore GPTs and see and search all the GPTs that are available. This is the early version of the one that we're building. So if I click on it, up there, it will change from Chat for Omnivore to the Home Building Advisor. And I could just tell it, let me move everybody's picture out of the way. I could tell it this: tell me about spec houses. I'm giving you a really simple prompt first, just to show you kind of what it knows. And away it goes. In the new version, I got things like, what happens if my spec houses don't move? What should I do? All kinds of stuff. So, but you can see it's got a pretty big knowledge base because we loaded like 1,500 pages of my writing into it. And then sometimes at night I train it. Like I ask it questions and I tell it, no, dumbass, that's not quite right. Here's the right answer. Add this, clarify that, try again. No, that's better, but you still didn't, this isn't quite true. So.
Well, if you have any questions for Al or Bill, their contact information, Jim had that up on the screen in the recording. You'll be able to see that as well. If you have any questions on drafting services, interactive plat maps, interactive floor plans, renderings, virtual tours, you want to contact me. Those other two guys, they're just going to point you back to me anyway.
Everybody gets inspired, and I love this, because I'm 77-year-old and I'm the guy who's talking about AI. And like my grandchildren look at me like I'm nuts, and they're like, how can you be doing that stuff? And I'm like, because it's really interesting and it's really thought-provoking. And if you really have a thirst for knowledge, this is what it's really all about. It's absolutely amazing. Every day I play with it, I'm more amazed than the day before.
Al, I'm going to use your quote because I have a lot of respect for both you and Bill, and I've learned a lot from both of you. I truly do look up to you as a beacon of information and knowledge and just forward thinking. And I don't like to look at age. I'm not an ageist, if you will. You know, everybody thinks you have to be young to understand this, but just like you said, you know, knowledge is power. Knowledge isn't power if you don't utilize it, if you don't leverage it, if you don't implement it. So thank you for that quote today and for that expansion of that quote that a lot of people like to use. And thank you everybody for your time today, visiting us on this webinar. We really appreciate you and the time you took out of your day to visit with us. Al,
I appreciate everybody's coming, and I'm going to the beach. So
thank you everybody for your attending today. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Al. Thanks, Kevin.
By the way, Bill, someone called me a stoic the other day.
Oh.
We were talking about
Aaron's going to be emailed to everybody.
There's a friend of mine who's just been diagnosed with a problem, and I was telling him about a medical thing that I have, and you know, I was basically telling him, you can deal with this. It's not that it only seems more difficult. It always seems more difficult than it is.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, my wife thinks I'm a whiner, but I think I'm a stoic. So I guess I'm somewhere in between.
I think you're a stoic. It's wonderful. You know, my son just turned 50, and he's had some struggles and stuff, and he's really grown a lot through stoicism. We trade, you know, stuff back and forth, you know, throughout the week, and it's made a big change. So it's fun to have other people to talk to about it.
So Richard, since you asked how long, Bill, a little over a year.
Hi, Barry.
And Al has been considerably longer because he was actually at the ground level with Open House AI. So he's been involved considerably longer, but yes.
Was that the question? How long have I been involved with AI?
Yes, sir.
It's about, I really got heavily involved about a year and a half ago. I was on a cruise, and one of the guest speakers was talking about AI and giving some demonstrations at the time about some early stuff. And I was like, holy crap, I need to understand this. But I had been working on the stuff for about a year and a half before in a more focused way with Open House AI on the home building side of it.
All right, I just got my note from Jim saying that he's about to shut it down. So have a fantastic rest of your week, everybody, and we'll see you on the flip side.